Dubai is not a hot country.
Most Saudi Arabian people, they don't book on Airbnb.
Because inventory is a big challenge in Saudi. It's not like Dubai where anyone can come buy a property and rent and give it to you to manage. You make it look and sound easy, but it's not as easy as you make it look. I think a lot of companies in Dubai, they're all in this race to the bottom of the market.
Do you think Saudi Arabia will overtake the UAE as the tourist destination? Today on the podcast, I got Vinik. He's the founder and owner of BnB Homes. He's got like hundreds of apartments here in Dubai, and he's expanding his Airbnb business to Saudi Arabia. So I'm super interested in that. So thank you so much for coming.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me, do you think Saudi Arabia will overtake the UAE as the tourist destination?
Oh, no, never.
You don't think so?
No, that's not going to happen. I mean, Dubai's Dubai.
Yeah.
You know, and at least in the next 10 years, I don't see Saudi being ready. 10 years later, who knows? I can't tell the future. But Saudi still has a long way to go.
Oh,
and, you know, Saudi is where I would say Dubai was maybe 20 years ago. They're making all the right moves. They're doing the correct things. They're saying the correct things. They're opening up the market. They've got some fantastic places over there, but it's at the infancy stage. Mm-hmm. So for the next 10 years, I don't see that changing. And the thing with Dubai is the leadership keeps reinventing itself, right? I mean, Dubai is not what it was 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's not what it was 20 years ago. So in 10 years, Dubai is not going to be what it was today. So it's going to be ahead of the game.
You think Dubai is going to grow just as fast or even faster than what Saudi Arabia is doing?
For sure.
But Saudi Arabia is doing some crazy things, like building that cube and that line that's like endlessly long.
Yeah.
You think all of that is going to finish, all that construction?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't have a doubt that everything they're trying to do will happen. Mm-hmm. They're very, very ambitious. They have the money to back it, but it's going to take time.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, look at Palm Jumeirah. Palm Jumeirah is today 80% complete. Okay. It's been a project that's been in the pipeline for 20 years,
really?
25 years. Okay. My friend, I remember living in Germany, and a friend of mine bought a property over there 25 to 30 years ago, and said, on the water, this is where I bought a place. Right? Oh. And they just started construction then.
So he bought a villa on the Palm?
On the Palm without the Palm existing.
Oh, dang.
That was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's taken 30 years for the Palm Jumeirah to be 80% complete. Yeah. I mean, we're talking years ahead.
Yeah, for people that don't know, that's the island that they built in the middle of the ocean. That's where I live actually right now.
Yeah.
So that's the crazy thing with Dubai. They always sell apartments like way before they even start creating them.
Yeah.
And that was a good investment for him, though. He made quite the return.
He's made a killing on it. Well, it's his home and he lives there, so I don't think he cares about he's not selling it. But what I'm trying to get at is, if Palm Jumeirah in Dubai is taking 20, 25 years to get 80% ready, because there's still construction happening there.
Yeah.
There's still developments, new hotels opening up all the time.
Just finished the biggest hotels in
Atlantis, the Royal Atlantis just opened, right? So for the Line and Neom and all these places in Saudi to really come to life and be matured areas, I think you're talking 20, 25 years, 30 years.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
It's out of my lifetime at least.
Yeah. So I want to get into a lot. I want to get into like your story, how you came to Dubai and all of that. But first I want to dive a little bit more into Saudi Arabia, because that's what I'm really interested in.
Yeah.
So why did you decide to expand to your Airbnb business to Saudi Arabia? And why did you pick Riyadh? That's like the city that's in the middle of the country. It's not by the ocean. Why did you pick that city over the other ones?
So the reason we went to Saudi is because we got excellent partners over there, clients of ours and business partners. And in Dubai, we were predominantly focused on the Saudi market as well. So we had a lot of guests who were from Saudi staying with us. And post-COVID, they stopped coming as much. And a lot of our property owners are Saudi investors. So it was just a natural progression. They invited us over there, and then we went there, and we had discussions, and we just opened up.
Oh, so it was owners that you were already working with here in Dubai. The same owners owned some apartments in Saudi Arabia and asked you to manage them?
Invited us over to manage, but specifically we have a partnership with one of the largest developers over there. And we have a joint venture with them to manage their inventory.
Okay.
Because inventory is a big challenge in Saudi. It's not like Dubai where anyone can come buy a property and rent and give it to you to manage. So it's a huge hassle.
All right. Okay, let's go more into Saudi Arabia later. So first, I want to understand your story a little bit better. So when did you move to Dubai, and when did you start your Airbnb business here in Dubai?
So I moved here 13 years ago, 2011, end of 2011, early 2012. And I was in the hospitality business. So we used to supply OS&E products to luxury hotels across the region. We worked with about 180 hotels.
That was in Germany?
No, here in Dubai.
Oh, here in Dubai.
I moved from India.
You moved from
Yeah, so I grew up in Germany. I got married. My wife moved to Germany, didn't like it, told me to pack my bags and move to her country, which was India.
Yeah, okay.
First time I've ever lived in India.
How long did you live there?
6 years. I started a retail business in India. We were one of the first we were one of the first retailers who raised foreign capital. We built the business up and then sold it. I exited and then moved here. We started a hospitality business, which was hotel supplies. We represented top brands globally and supplied, basically did the distribution across the Middle East to hotels.
This was in India?
Middle East.
That's when you moved to Dubai and you started a hospitality
supply company.
So you were like providing linen and shampoo and all that stuff. That's
exactly it. Soap, shampoos, and linen. So we represented brands out of the US. We worked with the Accors, the Marriotts, Jumeirahs, and everyone across the region. Yeah.
Well, I bet that was a profitable business, wasn't it?
It was a good business. It was a fun business. And over a period of time, you learned the hospitality industry because you worked very closely with general managers, housekeepers. You understood what their pain points were, how they solve it and stuff. And I was very interested in it. And my thought process was always, I'd like to end up owning a hotel. And if I owned a hotel, I always wanted it to be a very high-end service hotel.
Okay.
So my mentor or my role model in the world is Mr. Oberoi, who unfortunately passed away. And to me, the service levels that we look to aim for are of the Vilas brand of his, where they have a guest review score of over 90%, and it's still not good enough for them.
Who is that?
Mr. Oberoi is the owner of the Oberoi Hotels in India.
Okay.
The Oberoi Hotels in India, for me, are the equivalent of the Four Seasons or the One and Only or the Mandarin Oriental globally.
So like the most high-end hotels in India?
Yeah, well, in the world, I would say.
Okay.
I mean, some of their product is just, you can't compare.
Oh, that's crazy. And so you scaled that business. Did you own that business by yourself, or did you have partners?
My father and I owned it together.
Okay. Yeah. And then how did you get out of it? Did you sell it, or?
So COVID came. All of our hotels closed down.
Oh, yeah.
And my father unfortunately passed away during COVID. And I ended up selling the business to a supplier of ours who took it over, and they're running it now.
Oh, nice. Okay. And you started your Airbnb business here in Dubai in 2018, correct?
Yes and no. So in 2014, we had a tenant in one of our apartments, personal properties, on the Palm. And the tenant, just before the summer, disappeared without paying the rent. And when we went into the apartment was in a very shoddy condition. So my wife and I decided, because we've been staying in Airbnbs all over, right? Growing up in Europe, Airbnb hasn't been Airbnb, but it's been you go to certain destinations, you always book an apartment. There's no hotels.
Oh, yeah.
So we knew the concept. So we said, listen, why don't we convert this into an Airbnb? And
so Airbnb wasn't very established here in Dubai at 2014?
No, less than 1,000, 2,000 properties.
Oh, yeah.
So we converted the apartment to an Airbnb, and we did phenomenally well. I think we did double of our rent.
Wow.
Yeah. And over the next couple of years, we added a couple of more properties from our portfolio. A lot of friends came to us and said, hey, listen, can you do it for us? Because nobody had heard of it. There was no one here. When we went to DET and asked them to give us a trade license, they looked at us and said, that's not a business.
Yeah, you're not going to have an Airbnb, but what's that?
It doesn't exist. Why would someone, we've got so many hotels here, no one's going to stay in an apartment. They didn't give us a trade license.
Wow.
Finally, we did get a trade license. We went to the bank and said, open a bank account. The bank manager said, that's not a business. Why would anyone do that?
Oh, wow.
But we finally got a bank account. In 2018, we got a trade license.
So you were just doing it like in a gray area before that?
Well, there was no regulation.
Yeah.
Right? It's just, that's the way the modern economy goes, right? You disrupt an industry and you start off, and then regulations built after that.
Yeah.
So we actually, in 2018-19, there was an instance where a large developer wanted to stop short-term rentals in Dubai. And we gave a lot of pushback, and the Dubai government really supported us, and Dubai tourism really supported us.
Why did that developer want to stop?
Because it was a growing industry. You could see, it came to an inflection point where all of a sudden from 2,000 properties over 5,000, then 10,000 properties. And
So was it disturbing the hotel industry, or was it?
I think it was a developer who had inventory, and for them it was like, oh, hang on a second, we can make money out of our empty inventory out here, and it's a service we can offer our property owners. But what I always say is that short-term rental is not a real estate play. It's a for me, it's a hospitality play. Right? It's not about check in, check out. It's about guest experience.
Yeah.
And what can you do for the guest to make them come back to you? And that's how you stand out from the others.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. And so, how many apartments do you have now? You've scaled this from 2014 all the way up to now. How many apartments are you managing now?
Just over 100.
Just over 100.
Yeah.
And so there's two Airbnb models that I see very commonly. That's what you're doing, managing apartments for other people and taking a percentage. And then what I'm doing is subleasing. I'm renting apartments long-term, putting them on Airbnb, and whatever I make above that long-term rent, I make profit. So did you ever go that model as well, or was it always the revenue share model?
We've always done the revenue share. And I have to be honest, if we would have done your model when we started, we would have doubled or tripled our money.
Yeah.
Because in 2018-19, the rents were really, really low.
Yeah.
And I guess you could drive them even lower. In COVID, you could pick up some great deals. One of our core values in the company is create win-win scenarios. And I think doing a revenue share is a win-win because you're aligned with the property owner. Also, your model takes a lot of capital, a lot of risk. Something I guess we were a little concerned about. And it's easier to scale with what we're doing, right? I mean, can you imagine renting 100 apartments, 150 apartments? It's a lot of checks you have to issue.
Yes. Oh man, I've rented 16 apartments, and I've written each check. I've been to every viewing. It's a lot of work.
And then you invest in the furniture as well, right?
Yes.
So you're putting in a lot of money in.
Oh yeah, it's a lot riskier than the revenue share model.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what? It can be argued whether in today's day you make more money or you don't. We've had a lot of opportunities where people have come to us and said, "Hey, listen, rent it. We don't want to do a revenue share." We've refused every time. We did do it once. We did it in COVID, where we rented a Palm Villa for 350,000 dirhams a year.
Okay, that's a good deal.
We did 1 million dirhams in short-term rental.
Yeah, exactly.
So we did think, hey, this is a way to go. But 12 months later, the owner evicted us, and
because he wanted higher rent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just realized that that's too much of a risk. I can't afford to invest in the furniture.
Yeah.
And if you only have a property for 12 months,
yeah,
it doesn't give you the return. The return really comes in the second and third year.
Yeah.
When the repeat guests start to come back.
Yeah.
So it was too much. It's too much of a risk for us.
Yeah, exactly. For me, it takes like 10 months to like get enough profit to pay down the furniture agency commission and all of that.
Well, that's good. 10 months is good.
Yeah. But I'm counting on like these agents or these owners like renewing the contract with me.
Yeah.
But isn't it right that it's hard to get a tenant out after just 12 months? Isn't it usually you have to give them 12 months notice, cancellation?
It depends if they were selling the place and
Okay.
they wanted to increase the rent, and they just make life difficult. And
Oh yeah.
when you're running a business, you want things to be simple.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to deal with notices and hassles and this and that and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if they really want to get you out, they can get you out.
It's not worth the stress.
Yeah.
It's not worth the stress. And we made our money that year, and we said, you know what, fine, we'll let it go. No big deal.
Okay.
The challenge with rentals, I guess, are you doing 1 checks, 4 checks?
Oh, usually 4.
Yeah. So the challenge to me, I think, would come in the summers, right? Because the winters, of course, you can get away with it. You can survive it, but the summers are a big challenge in Dubai.
Yeah, exactly. Summers in Ramadan. Ramadan was super slow.
This year?
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't seen a real Ramadan then.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I mean, we average close to 70% this Ramadan.
Yeah.
And Ramadan is normally 35%.
Occupancy.
In Saudi, we were less than 30%.
I bet, because Saudi is like all...
Zero.
Yeah.
Zero.
Wow.
I mean, there was nothing.
Nothing.
My operations manager called me and said, I'm taking 3 weeks leave because I have nothing to do.
Yeah.
So
Because in Dubai, you still get so many Western people that like don't even know what Ramadan is, you know? So...
Yeah. Well, and it coincided with Easter this year, right? So it helped.
Oh, that helped, I guess. Yeah.
But Ramadan, over the last 5 years, I think if we did 35%, we were happy.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so...
But yeah, like the summer and Ramadan, it's all about just breaking even for me.
Yeah.
And then I'll make the profits in the other months.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it. I've seen some of your properties. You have good stuff.
Yeah, thanks,
and
man.
you're doing the interiors quite well, so it looks nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it even better from now on.
Yeah.
It's all about just standing out from the rest of the people. Because if you're subleasing, you gotta like do everything right to get enough profit, and just investing like crazy in the furniture and the photos is how I try to stand out.
Yeah. I guess the risk for you would be if a property is doing really well, 12 months later the owner comes and tells you leave, because you don't have an Ijari, right?
Yeah, I do have an Ijari.
Oh, you don't have an Ijari, but they give you an NOC for the short term. Yeah. So the next year they just say, we're not giving you the NOC anymore. Then you're stuck.
Yeah, I try to put in the contract that they need to give me the NOC as long as the contract is valid. But I have not done that on all my contracts. Yeah. But that might be good to start really doing that.
I mean, I know instances where, let's talk about address JBR.
Yeah.
You know, we did 700,000 in 1 year for the owner on a 3-bed.
Okay.
Gave us notice.
Because he's the one to do them himself.
He got a check for 1 million.
Oh.
One check for 1 year.
Dang.
So you know, when rents go up like that and they go to those numbers, short term is not going to beat it.
Yeah.
No chance. I mean, in places like Blue Water, short term is not going to beat the long term.
Yeah. All right, man. You told me a crazy story when I just walked in here that you were in court with Airbnb.
Yeah. So about 12 to 18 months ago, we got a court notice from Airbnb to change our name. You know, our brand is bnbme, bed and breakfast Middle East, right? And apparently Airbnb said that we were copying their name and getting business. We're benefiting out of it. So we argued it against.
Because it's similar to Airbnb? Oh.
So we argued it, and we made them understand that, look, we're not fighting against you. You're one of our large business partners. We're one of your largest partners in Dubai, and we work very closely together with you. We have no interest in copying your name. We're a management company. We're not a platform. We don't distribute other people's properties.
Exactly.
And we won the case.
You did win the case. Yeah. So how does this work? So Airbnb sues you, and who is the deciding?
Well, they didn't sue us.
Okay.
They sent us a letter telling us to stop using the name.
Okay. And then who decides if you can keep it or not?
So this was at the trademark courts, because we had applied for our trademark registration.
Oh, so, trademark. What does that mean?
It's a TM sign, so that nobody else can use your brand.
I got you.
So we wanted a trademark bnbme in the Middle East, so nobody, because there's a guy in Greece who copied our name.
Really?
He set up bnbme Greece, which is not us.
Yeah, that sucks.
So we decided to trademark our name so nobody else can use it.
Yeah.
I think we have built a decent brand amongst the consumers who stay with us. So we have very high repeat guests. Okay. So we are recognized. Yeah. And we just wanted to protect that. And Airbnb said, oh, no, wait, hang on a second. That sounds too much like us. So we explained our case to them. They understood it, and they were very supportive.
Oh, so Airbnb was like, okay, fine, you can do it.
Yep.
Okay, so it wasn't a third party that had to be involved.
No, there was a third party involved. It was in the trademark courts.
Okay.
So it was an argument in front of a judge.
No. And so this case is over now?
This case is over, and we've been given the license to use we've been given the license to trademark our name.
Nice. Was this a costly process, or?
Yeah.
Really?
Cost, yeah.
Well, is it lawyer fees?
Yeah, lawyers are always expensive, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if you're going to do something, you'd hire the best.
Yeah, absolutely. So back to Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia is huge. So many cities. Can you tell me, like, what are the biggest tourist destinations in Saudi Arabia? What are the biggest cities?
Well, the largest is obviously Mecca, Medina, right? I mean, Jeddah, or just outside of Jeddah, which is Mecca, Medina for the religious tourism.
Jeddah is by the ocean, by the Red Sea, right?
No, Jeddah is not by the Red Sea.
Where's Jeddah?
We'll have to pull out a Google Maps to
Yeah.
tell you exactly. That's probably the best way to do it. But Jeddah is very close to Mecca, Medina, which is the holy, the two mosques that Saudi is the holy custodian of. The religious tourism, which attracts millions and millions of customers a year.
Oh, that's the huge place where everybody's walking in circles around.
That's right. It's for any Muslim across the world. That's the sanctuary to get to at least once in their lifetime. It's non-Muslims aren't allowed to go.
Really?
But that's the number one tourist spot. I mean, during the season when they travel there for their pilgrimage, I mean, there are 10 people to a room kind of a thing. You have the Holiday Inn building, the largest hotel of 10,000 rooms.
Wow.
So that's the largest destination. We haven't gone there. We've gone to Riyadh.
Okay.
The reason we've gone to Riyadh, like I said, is we have an excellent business partner who's giving us supply of inventory. They're a fantastic developer in Riyadh, and it's the partnership that's taken us there.
So Riyadh is like in the middle of the desert, in the middle of Saudi Arabia. Why is there a city there?
It's the capital.
That's the capital.
It's the capital.
What's going on there? Why is it?
There's so much going on. I mean, I spend 50% of my time in Riyadh, and I can tell you it's a fantastic city. I've told my wife and kids, daughter, we should move there.
Okay.
They're not open to it yet, but it's a great city. It's a great culture, huge expat community. The locals are very friendly, very hospitable, very entrepreneurial. There's lots to do. It's not like it was 10 years ago. There's cinemas, there's malls, there's activities.
Why did the city start? What's the history of the city?
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Yeah.
But I think it's the royal family's based out of there.
Okay.
And the royal family's lives
How
there.
many people live there now?
We're getting, I think, close to 10 million.
And is there a lot of tourism?
Tons.
Why do tourists go to Riyadh?
It's a lot of local tourists.
Okay.
So Riyadh is the capital of Saudi Arabia. So a lot of locals from Saudi are traveling to Riyadh.
Yeah.
And then we have a lot of corporate clients that go there.
For work. And
But it's also the destination point. I mean, you travel into Riyadh and then you go to Neom Island or you go to Alula or wherever else you want to go. You base yourself out of Riyadh.
And there's also like events that happen there.
Yeah.
Wasn't Formula One there? Or?
Formula One was in Jeddah.
Okay.
But the largest tech show in the region was there a couple of weeks ago called Leap.
I think there was a boxing event there I was invited to. Couldn't that be?
Yeah. There was boxing that was there. So there's tons of stuff. There's a lot of big football games coming up.
Okay.
The World Cup is going to be coming there soon.
Oh, nice.
Huge sporting events. Boxing is a big thing they're bringing there. The golf is there. Entertainment. They have the Riyadh. They have a huge musical festival in the winter, which is like Tomorrowland or Burning Man, out in the desert.
So what's the Airbnb market like there? Do you get a bunch of bookings or big high rates or?
So I don't. Let's talk about the short-term rental market.
Yeah.
We don't really work on Airbnb much in Riyadh. We work on our direct clients and our direct business. Yeah. We are on Airbnb, but I don't think it's generating much revenue.
Wow.
I think the Saudis, even if you look over here in Dubai, the Saudi Arabians weren't booking through Airbnb. So I don't think they understand that concept.
Okay, so most of the Saudis are booking direct.
Correct.
And how do you get the direct bookings? It's just your website and
our website. Plus, we have salespeople there, and we've got the network of agents. I mean, we've been doing business with the Saudis for the last 10 years, right? They've been coming and staying here with us, and then the word of mouth spreads and stuff. And so on.
So what's the profitability of these apartments compared to the ones in Dubai?
I can't tell you in terms of long term because there's no platform to check what the long term market is. I'm not sure if you can rent long term and put it on short term.
Okay.
So this because we work specifically with a developer and we work with their inventory.
Yeah, but what about like your revenue on short term? Is it more or less in Saudi or in Dubai?
No, the occupancy rates in Saudi are slightly lower.
Yeah.
And the ADRs are lower.
ADR, the average daily rate.
Yeah, but the apartments are bigger.
Okay.
Right, but you still don't hit the same ADRs as you do in Dubai.
So you told me you can't rent apartments long term? Like it's.
I'm not sure on the regulation. Like I know you can't buy.
Yeah.
So for example, my investors from Dubai can't come and buy inventory over there and give it to us. A lot of them want to do it, but they can't do it. They're legally not allowed.
Oh, only Saudis can buy apartments.
Well, as a foreigner, you can buy one apartment that you live in.
Oh, okay.
But you can't buy more.
invest.
But I think all that's going to change. Like I said, the Saudi market is what like Dubai was 20, 25 years ago. 25 years ago, you couldn't buy real estate in Dubai, right? This is all new. Where we were sitting here, this was sand.
Yeah.
So this is, and I think that's the change Saudi's going through now.
Oh yeah, but so you said there's no platform in Saudi to rent apartments.
I mean, there's Property Finder and stuff like that, but
Okay.
it's not active. Not many people are using it. They still work in the traditional old broker method.
Oh, so they just go to an agent and they tell them, yeah, you can have this one or this one.
But even the agents are very pocketed, right? In small areas, in certain areas, there's like Sotheby's doesn't have one agency looking over the whole thing.
But why do expats go there?
Work,
Work.
consultancy.
Okay.
I mean, there's so much construction and development going on, right?
yeah.
I mean, Saudi Arabia, let's take Riyadh, for example. Riyadh has like 8 or 10 what they call giga projects, which are $1 billion projects plus.
And a lot of people have to work for them. A lot of talent from the Western countries go there to
That's right. That's right.
advise and help out. Yeah, I know a woman from Iceland actually that's lives in Dubai, and she's an advisor for somebody in the line. The line of the construction.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's crazy to think that she's involved in building the line, But obviously her part is like, she's part of a team that has a very small project inside of the...
Well, I can't remember the exact number, but the whole NEOM project is a few $1 trillion, right?
Yeah,
It's big money.
exactly. Yeah, it's wild.
But
So-
it's gonna put Saudi on the map for, I would say, the next century.
Yeah, for sure. If they complete it, then I gotta go and check it out.
It's a
What-
stunning place.
What are the seasons like in Saudi Arabia? Is it like summertime? It's very slow, just like Dubai.
Even slower.
Even slower.
Even slower.
Yeah, because in Saudi it's all like mostly just locals, right? And so you don't get that. I mean, what do you think?
You don't have the international tourism.
Yeah,
That's just not there, especially in Riyadh. You have international consultants, but you don't have the international tourists. And you have Saudi locals, but they travel to Riyadh more in the winter season than the summers.
I got you.
It's very hot in the summers. Even in the winters, it's colder than Dubai. In the summers, it's hotter than Dubai.
It's hotter than Dubai in the summers. Yeah, I bet if you're not by the ocean, you're just in the middle of the desert, then it's hotter. So like 50 plus degrees.
Yeah, and you adjust your lifestyle, right? Like for example, in Saudi, we do check in at 3 o'clock and check out at 5 or 6 o'clock rather than 12 and 3. So you adjust the whole day adjusts because you start operating more at when the sun sets rather than when the sun's out. I mean, in the middle of the day, you just take off.
Yeah, so it's more of like night. You do everything at night when the sun's down.
Yeah.
So let's circle back to Dubai a little bit better, and I want to understand like your whole operations and systems and how you operate. Can you tell me what were the struggles of expanding, like going past 50 apartments? Because then the whole thing gets a lot more complex.
Yeah.
What kind of struggles did you face?
I think the biggest challenge was hiring the middle management, and we've now got a leadership team that runs the business in terms of the operational. But hiring that middle management and letting go, right? So my wife and I were very involved in the operations at the setup stage. I used to check guests in myself, especially if they were premium apartments. I used to do the guest check-in. My wife used to do the inspection and make sure the housekeeping was done and supervising that. So we set it up. And I think the mistake we made is we didn't document the SOPs. So when we brought middle managers in who trained under us, they did a great job. But when they left and the new person came in and we had grown to an extent where we couldn't train them on a day-to-day anymore, they had nowhere to go and then the standards dropped. So then we had to go back in and set the standards.
Oh, that's a good point. So when you were training people while you were fully operating, it was easier to train them.
That's right.
But then you went out and they were fully operating, and then when they quit, there was nobody to train them.
And the new person came in.
Yeah.
So when there was a change in that position, which is natural,
Yeah.
the new guy wasn't trained as per our standards.
Yeah.
So
They were trained by that other person, and then some standards kind of fell off. And
exactly.
I got you.
And
So
then
how did you overcome that?
we went back and documented the SOPs. And then now everybody comes in. There's a certain standard you have to follow. There's a certain way we set up the property, certain things that we do, certain things we don't do. And we hired what I would call is between a senior leadership team, a senior management team.
Okay.
And that senior management team and I and my wife meet every week. And we meet with them one-on-one every week for an hour. We meet as a team and then one-on-one.
Nice.
And they understand the values and the vision of the business.
Okay.
And we've been lucky that they've been together for the last 3-4 years, so they understand what we want. And we have an awesome team.
Yeah.
You know, I think we have the highest guest review scores in Dubai, and that's our KPI as a business.
Nice.
You know, we want to be the number one company in terms of review scores. We don't care about size and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. If you want an apartment in Dubai and you want to maximize the revenue you're getting, you need to run it on Airbnb and Book.com. A lot of people have asked me if I can run their Airbnb apartment for them, but you know, I've always pushed that to the side just because it will take too much time away from my apartments. So what I've done now is I've partnered with 2 guys that have been in the industry for 10 years, and together we're going to start managing apartments for other people. Now, with them teaming up with me, I'm going to be able to truly focus on maximizing the revenue on my own subleasing apartments and the apartments that we're managing for other people. So if you want me and my team to manage your apartment and truly maximize the revenue you're getting on Airbnb and Book.com, fill out the form in the description, and either me or my team members will reach out to you. So yeah, now you have SOPs, standard operating procedures, just in line. So when a new person comes in, they just look at, you know, the standard operating procedures, and he just has to follow that.
Correct.
So so you have senior management and middle management. So the senior management is running like all the day-to-day, like they're overseeing the business, like running the pricing strategy and just making sure everything runs correctly. How many senior management employees do you have, and how many middle management do you have?
So I have 6 people reporting into me.
Okay.
And we have 70 people in the company.
Wow. And the 6 people working for you, what's their different roles, or do they all have the same roles?
So I have a CFO.
Okay.
I have a head of revenue, reservations, and distribution.
Okay.
I have a head of commercial.
Uh-huh.
I have a head of operations, and I have a head of business development, and HR and admin.
HR and admin. Okay. And then there's a bunch of people underneath that do the communication with the guest. They check the guest in.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So 150 apartments, you got 70 employees.
Not 150, just over 100.
Okay. And is that including cleaners?
That is including cleaners.
Yeah. Okay. That's amazing. And so direct bookings, you get a lot of direct bookings.
Yep.
I don't get any direct bookings. Can you teach me how to get them?
Yeah, it'll cost you, but I can teach you. Yeah, I mean, look, it's no secret. It's a very simple solution. Guest has to be king. You know, I'm on a couple of WhatsApp chats in Dubai on Airbnb hosts, and the amount of times you hear about a host complaining about a guest, you know, I want to pull my hair out. I'm like, listen, that's your client. You know, whatever the guest wants, do it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you some crazy stuff we've done. We've had a guest check in and booked a very nice apartment, very expensive apartment, complained about the mattress. They were staying with us for 10 days. Mm-hmm. They said, the mattress is too soft. I'm going to break my back.
Yeah.
We changed the mattress for them.
Yeah, nice.
We took it out and put a hard mattress in for him.
Nice.
When the Israel market just opened up, we had an Israeli guest who booked for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Paid a fortune. You know, like paid top dollar. Checked in and said, I can't stay here. We have to check out. I'm like, why? What's the problem? They said, kosher.
Cushion?
Kosher. We need everything plastic. We can't eat out of this microwave fridge. We put a new microwave and fridge for them. We wrapped the entire kitchen in plastic for them just to make them comfortable.
Wow.
We had a guest check in. He booked a 4-bedroom penthouse with us. He said, I'm staying here for a month. I need an office space. I don't need 4 bedrooms. We converted the 3rd bedroom into an office for him. And we don't charge for this.
Yeah.
Right? We just
That's
do
crazy.
guest satisfaction. You know, the guest we converted that office for, he's here every summer, and he stays with us for a month every summer.
Yeah.
4 years now, 5 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, okay, not like a lot of Airbnb companies here in Dubai, they don't have this quality. Like me
They
and
don't
my
get it.
No, exactly. Me and my ex-girlfriend stayed in an apartment when we moved here to begin with, and there was only one like duvet, one blanket for the both of us. And in Iceland, that's very weird. Like we're like, one duvet? So we asked the host, like, hey, can we get an extra duvet? Because like in Europe, that's very normal in many places. Like you don't have the same duvet. And they were like, no, it's one for both of you. And we were like, what? And we asked like 2 more times, and they just did not want to give it to us. So we had to buy like our own.
So you know that's part of the business. I wish, and I keep trying to enforce it with Dubai Tourism is there should be some sort of a standard. They had that initially. There should be some sort of a standard before you issue a license.
But isn't there like rules you have to follow? A bunch of things you have to have?
Yeah, but it's not that complicated, right?
Yeah.
Earlier, when I got a license, we had to have somebody who'd worked in a hotel for a certain number of years to be on our trade license.
Okay.
Otherwise, you couldn't open up a trade license. And that's gone now. So anybody with a bunch of properties, a real estate agent, can open up a holiday home company.
Yeah.
And I think they should make that a little more stringent. And I think Dubai Tourism should be a little more strict because we're representing Dubai as a brand.
Yeah.
Right? The way the guest comes and stays with us
Exactly.
is the brand representation of Dubai.
Yeah.
And I just think a lot of these holiday home companies don't get it. They just think, oh, I have a piece of property. It's my property. Stay with my rules.
Yeah.
No, these guys are spending a lot of money to come on vacation here.
Yeah.
You know, if you're talking about someone from Europe coming here, you're talking about $6,000 to $10,000 just on flights, right? And then if you're staying in a decent place with 4 people, you're talking about $500 a night. So you're talking another $5,000 just on accommodation. So they're down $10,000, $15,000 without having seen anything, right? You got to make sure they have a good time. It's your responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't turn around and say, "Sorry, I'm not giving you a duvet." I mean, I don't get that.
Same. But okay, so like the direct bookings, do you collect the emails of the guests and then send out emails, or are most of your direct bookings just coming from your website and where they WhatsApp your team and then they organize an apartment?
So we engage with our guests, and the reason we have that many employees is because we make a personal connection with our guests, right? So you don't just very few guests come in, stay and leave without having any contact with us. Actually, no guest stays and leaves without having any contact with us. So we create that connection with the guests. We make them feel at home. We have a concierge service for them. So if they want to book something, we book it for them. If they want an advice on where to go, we do that.
Wow.
So we do the whole service. And I think they tell a lot of their friends to stay with us. And a lot of them just, whenever they're coming back to Dubai, stay with us. We're in touch with them constantly. We know when their birthdays are, anniversaries are, and we wish them. And just small basics, right? I mean, a guest comes to Dubai and they go back home, send them a nice message 3 days later. Hey, I hope you enjoyed your trip. We look forward to seeing you soon again. Treat them as like a human being, right? Don't treat them like a transaction. And that's why I believe this is a hospitality play and not real estate or an investment play.
So a lot of your guests are like just people that come to Dubai all the time and they always stay with you again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
And they just send your team a WhatsApp and say, hey, what do you got for me? I'm coming here.
Yeah. We have a guest who stays with us every month, right? We pack his bag. So he's got a suitcase over here in Dubai. He comes, we set up his wardrobe. He leaves, we take his wardrobe, give stuff for laundry, put it into a suitcase, and have it ready for when he comes back again.
Wow. That's awesome.
He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
He's staying with me every time.
Exactly.
All it costs is my housekeeping guy to do up his
I really got to get more into like repeat guests and all that, because all my business, because in Iceland we don't have a lot of repeat guests. People come to Iceland once and they don't come back maybe 5 years later.
Different
you
market.
know, it's different. But in Dubai, people come again and again and again and again and again for so many different reasons. So for me, it's always just been automating messages. My virtual assistants in Pakistan handle the questions, and just as little content as possible, as little friction, just make it super automated.
We're the opposite.
You're the opposite. So, and I definitely see that I have to try to get into, finding a way to get more direct bookings by, what I'm thinking is gathering like everybody's emails and like sending them an email like every 2 months, just reminding them about us, and being more available on WhatsApp, not just on the Airbnb platform. So not me personally, but having a staff member that can like answer everybody's questions, and like they can like you said, most Saudi Arabian people, they don't book on Airbnb. They go to the website. They want to talk to somebody.
They want to talk to someone.
Exactly. So that's what I got to get into, for sure. What about when you go ahead?
But that's an infrastructure, right? You got to set that infrastructure up, and that's where the people add on, and that's where the costs add on, and that's where I think a lot of companies in Dubai are having they're all in this race to the bottom of the market. We keep hearing new property, because we're growing, right? So we keep hearing property owners in my part of the world charging management fees, right? And you hear the market's gone from 20% to 17 to 15 to 12, and now I'm hearing people are charging 10%.
Yeah.
And I question the common sense here. If I own $1 million asset, am I going to give it to a company who's charging 10%?
Exactly.
And they're going to screw the asset, right? I mean, that asset's not going to be taken care of.
Yeah.
You know, so as a property owner, if you're going to give your property at such a low rate, right? What is your capex going to be once you get that back? Because at 10% you can't manage anything, right?
For sure. So what you're talking about, I totally agree with what you're saying. So to explain to everybody, so the management company either charges the owner 10 or 20% of the revenue, or somewhere there in between. But if you give your apartment to somebody managing it for 10%, there's not enough revenue for the management company to put their full focus into it.
100%.
The less percentage you give to the person managing it, the less focus you're going to get and the less revenue you're going to get.
Yeah.
So you like, I would say 18%, like 18 or 20%, you have to pay the management company 18 or 20% just for them to completely give,
run a professional show.
Exactly.
We charge 20%. And I can tell you we've dropped our prices slightly from 25 to 20. But we're not going to go lower than that. And, we have our head of housekeeping is Oberoi Hotels, right? So she used to run the Oberoi Hotels housekeeping. Now, our properties are top notch. At any time you go in, you're going to have a certain standard, a certain level. If I'm charging 10%, I can't afford her. And all of a sudden, I have to cut my costs on my cleaning, cut my costs on my supervision.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, that apartment over a period of 12 months is going to deteriorate, which means after 12 months, in the second year, whereas at bnbme, we're charging the guest a higher rate because they're coming back and staying with us. We've got a repeat guest. In this other scenario, I have to reduce my price because the apartment condition is not the same as it was 12 months ago.
Exactly.
So I think this race to the bottom is going to destroy a lot of companies. And
I don't think you got to worry about it. Just stay at 20%. Yeah.
Well, look, it's impacted us because a lot of owners haven't signed. But we're now starting to see those owners who've been with these other companies 3 months, 4 months, 5 months coming back to us, right? And they're trying to negotiate. We're not going to negotiate, because I'm not going to drop our quality standards.
Exactly, it's easy. I think everybody that's going to go to these 12 or 15% management companies, they're just going to realize, okay, this is not good, and come back to.
Well, and those companies aren't going to survive.
Yeah, true.
I mean,
also
and you can see it in your business, right? I mean, there has to be a spread because there's a cost, and then when you start adding on all these extra services, that cost goes up.
For sure.
And that's where the conversation really comes on how you can be automated and yet personalized.
Yeah, exactly. What about furnishing? What's your furnishing standards?
So we have our own design team. We have our own designers. We work with manufacturers and joineries. We don't do an IKEA standard. No disrespect to IKEA, but we are more luxury. So we are more high end. We have standardized mattresses, for example. We only buy a specific mattress, which is not the cheapest mattress. All of our apartments have to have that mattress. All of our apartments have to have the same pillow, the same duvet. We use down and feather, as you know, from Iceland. You'll be surprised, and I learned this in the hospitality world. For bedding, Dubai is not a hot country, right? So the duvet that you use in Iceland is probably a very similar duvet as what you would use in the hotel world in Dubai. And the reason being is because the air conditioning.
Yeah, I was actually surprised. Like when you go to Spain, all you get is like a
spread.
Yeah, but when you come here, you get a proper duvet, just like in Iceland. Yeah.
So we use down feather.
Yeah.
Right? We don't use goose because the pricing has just gone crazy post-COVID.
Yeah.
But we were using goose feather, goose down and goose feather. But we use duck down and duck feather now, which is still a good product. And made in Germany, so it's a good brand. But that's standardized everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And again, that's part of the experience. And for me, that's part of the furnishing and the furniture, right? The design, I mean, everything's about 70, 80, 90% the same, right? Everyone's going the Scandinavian, simplistic, basic,
and
luxury look.
How much does it cost to set up your apartment?
A one bedroom is about 30,000, 35,000. A two bed is between 50 and 70.
So if an owner wants you to manage their apartment, they have to pay, the furnishing setup.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, they pay for it. They pay for it.
So 45.
It's their asset.
Exactly, 45 for a two bedroom, right?
About 35 to 50,000.
So yeah, it depends on what level they want.
What level does it have? A maid's room? Does there an outdoor balcony on it? Stuff like that.
Yeah,
we don't adjust the level, so we have a standard.
Oh, you have the standard. Okay. Funny thing when you're talking about the duvet and the AC. So when I moved to Dubai, like last summer, obviously it was like 40 plus degrees. and I was so scared I was just gonna melt here coming from Iceland. But the thing is, I was probably more cold
Yeah.
in Dubai than I was in Iceland, just because the AC is so strong here. You can just make your room like 16 degrees.
So that's what I meant when I said that it's not treated as a hot country in the hospitality
Yeah.
world. It's treated as a cold country
Exactly.
because the ACs are so strong.
Yeah,
So when Jumeirah Hotels opened up the new Jumeirah, right?
Yeah.
Mina Salam, not Mina Salam, the fourth one. I'm forgetting the name. We did a lot of the consultancy on the bedding. In terms of what spec they should use, or like all the Rotana hotels, we did the consultancy on what spec they should use. And the biggest learning for them and for us was Dubai is not a hot country when it comes to bedding because of the air conditioning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
It's so funny. Yeah. Also, me going back to Iceland now, and I'm like trying to get my room in the right temperature.
Yeah.
It's like I have to open the window, close it, turn on the oven. It's like it's hard. But here, AC, just I can control the temperature. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
So let me ask you some stuff if you're okay.
For sure, yeah.
How did you get in? Like why did you choose Dubai out of Iceland?
So I'm from Iceland. I was doing the same thing in Iceland. Grew that to like 25 apartments. But the market in Iceland is not very scalable, and the market like the regulations can change at any moment. So I don't want to like grow to 100 apartments in Iceland, and then the regulations change like that, and I'm stuck with 100 apartments worth of furniture. You know. So that's when I thought, okay, I got to go somewhere else. And I wanted to go somewhere where everybody speaks English, like UK, America, or Dubai. And Dubai was just the easiest, to get into. I applied for some jobs. I got a job right away with a holiday home company and a real estate agency. So I started working there for like 3-4 months. And, I saw like, my future with them was not going to work. So we parted ways, and that's why when I started subleasing apartments here in Dubai. And yeah, well, I got my first apartments in last August, and now I'm at 16.
All right.
Here in Dubai.
So this is your first summer?
Yeah, I mean, I moved here July last summer, and I was working with a holiday home company, so I was very, very involved last summer in the Airbnb market. So I'm fully prepared of what it's going to look like.
You know what's coming.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And how have you adapted your game?
So what I like to do is, for the low season, I like to lower my price a little bit in advance. So I'm already starting to like gather bookings in the low season. That's one way I've adapted. What are you thinking mostly?
Well, that's an interesting point because I always have a counter argument to that.
Okay.
And I talk with a lot of friends in the industry, and everyone always talks about lowering prices. And I said, what's the point?
Okay.
Right? The guy who's coming is going to book anyway.
Oh.
Right? The demand is not low because of price. The demand is low because of demand in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a point where it doesn't make sense to drop your price further.
Okay.
And I think the customer would book anyway.
Mm.
So it's an interesting point. You say you reduce your prices for the future, which I can understand.
Yeah.
But do you have a minimum threshold you go to?
Yeah, let's talk about this for a little bit. So for me, like in Ramadan, I lower my price until the apartment gets booked. Doesn't matter how far I have to go. Because.
Do you mind if I ask if you broke even on your apartments?
In some of them, no. Some of them, yes. And I did make some profit in March for sure.
Yeah.
But that was because of some bookings that I got like way back. The new apartments that I got right in Ramadan, they were struggling because they had no reviews.
Well, it takes time.
Yeah.
Apartment can't come on board and make money.
And I had to drop their prices like crazy. But I didn't want to keep them empty because I wanted to start gathering reviews and get some momentum. You know what I mean?
But when you drop the price, you risk the guest who's going to pay more not being able to book.
That's a really good point. But when the calendar's open tomorrow, and you have no guests, and there's 20 apartments cheaper than yours on the market, and they all look the same.
How do you know they're cheaper in the market?
I just go on Airbnb, check it out, and
so you do most of your bookings through Airbnb?
Yeah.
Okay.
Airbnb and Booking.com now.
Okay. How's Booking.com been for you?
I just like the confirmation process is very like lengthy and strict, so it has taken a while to get like active there. But now I'm active, and we're getting some bookings for sure.
Different guest.
It's different guests. Yeah, they have higher expectations.
It's a different guest. Our We are on Airbnb. We're between a 4.65 and a 4.9.
Yeah.
You know, fluctuates. You get one bad review and it drops down, and then you have to build it back up. So we're generally about a 4.7, 4.8 on Airbnb. The lowest we've been is 4.65, and the best we've been is 4.9 something. On Booking.com, we're at 9.
Nice.
Which is a 4.
Better reviews?
Which is a 4.5.
Oh, 9 is a 4.5?
Yeah, because it's out of 10.
Yeah.
And Booking.com, Airbnb's out of 5.
Yeah.
So if you take a 9 divided by 2, it's 4.5.
Okay.
Right, and that is with it. We work very hard on that, and that's probably the highest in Dubai.
Yeah.
So Booking.com guest is a different guest to an Airbnb
because
guest.
they expect more, right?
The biggest challenge is a Booking.com guest thinks you're a hotel.
Yeah.
So it's making them understand we're not a hotel.
Yeah.
Many times they come and then we just say, okay, fine, here's your money back and you can cancel.
Because they want daily cleaning. They want somebody to carry their luggage.
We offer daily cleaning. We carry their luggage.
Oh, okay.
We do that.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you stay with us and you can get daily cleaning. You can get cleaning twice a day. You get a turn down service in the evening as well.
Okay. All for free?
Depending on what you book and when you book, yeah.
Okay.
Your luggage gets carried by our guest service team, so that's not an issue. The issue is reception. They just want that hotel. They think it's a hotel. Mm-hmm. And it's not, and that's what you got to explain them. They want to be able to pick up the phone and call reception.
Yeah,
no, you're not calling reception. You'll be calling our reception, which is somewhere else in the world.
Yeah. If you want to open a company in Dubai, it's very important to have the right service to help you with the entire setup. When I moved to Dubai, I used a very reputable service, one of the biggest services in Dubai, to help me with the setup, and it was a disaster. They sent me to all these office inspections to the wrong locations, and they told me to lie to these inspectors, and it was just a disaster. It was so embarrassing. And then once the entire setup was done, it was no possible way to get a hold of them. Like, I had a bunch of follow-up questions that I wanted to get clear and some add-ons that I wanted to do, but I couldn't get a hold of them. So it was a disaster. So what I have done is now I found this guy now that I'm working with if I need any like legal or company advice and setup, and I'm sending all my friends to this guy. So if you want a proper service to help you set up your company or answer your questions about what kind of companies to set up in Dubai, reach out to this guy. You can fill out the form in the description and he will reach out to you. Let's go back to the pricing because that's super interesting. And pricing, there's no right way to do pricing. There's 100 different strategies, and I've interviewed so many like high-end people like you, and many of them have a similar strategy as you. Others have a totally different strategy. So like people's heads are just all over the place when it comes to pricing. And I want to understand your thinking about that a little bit. So you don't want to lower price like for July and August. Yeah, you just want to keep that at the standard rate. And
no, so we wouldn't keep it at the rates that are the winter are. We do have summer rates.
Yes.
But I'm not interested in a race to the bottom. So just like my management fees, I don't discount. We don't discount our room rents either, right? I mean, I'm not going to keep lowering my price until it gets full.
I got you.
And a very simple example is if I lower my price and I get a booking for 10 days at a ridiculously low price, I don't have an opportunity of getting the customers ready to pay more. I'd prefer to get somebody in who stays 5 nights at double than 10 at half. Right? And I think if you look at the mentorship and the direction has to come from the hotels. Right, because we're disrupting their world in a way, right? Because we're alternative accommodation. And if you look at the kind of brands we want to emulate or be like are the Four Seasons, the Mandarin Orientals, the one and onlys, the Oberois. I don't see a Four Seasons dropping its pants. I don't see a one and only saying, hey, listen, I'm super cheap at the moment. Come and stay with me. It attracts a different kind of guest. You mess up the apartment. So what we actually do over the summer months when we're slightly down is we start doing a lot of maintenance on the property. We do PPMs. We strip out all the electronics, the air conditioning. We clean the inside the ACs and everything, the coils, the whole works. We spend a lot of time doing that when apartments are empty and getting them rebuffed and getting them re-ready.
So in the low seasons, you don't lower the price too much, but the occupancy rate lowers a little bit then instead. For me, my occupancy is almost the same the year around because I just lower my prices to get that occupancy.
Yeah, I mean, that's a way of doing it.
Yeah.
That's a way of doing it.
Different strategies.
Yeah, but look, you've got a fixed cost, right? You've got that fixed rent to cover.
Of course, yeah.
And to me, that's more of a volume game, right? We're not volume. We prefer to go into a high revenue, high yielding game. Higher risk. Higher risk. I mean, we had an apartment on New Year's Eve, wasn't booked. Wasn't booked at all.
Okay.
Instead of reducing the price, we jacked it up. We got a booking $10,000 a night for one apartment.
Was that direct booking or
direct booking
from WhatsApp or like somebody just messaged
it was
you?
a previous guest who stayed with us.
So here's the thing, like with your strategy, I think I like it because you get so many direct bookings. Yeah. So for me, if I'm not my price is not competitive on Airbnb, there's just no chance I'm getting booked, or like virtually no chance if my price is not competitive.
Well, I don't know.
It doesn't have to be like the lowest, but it has to be at least competitive.
Of course,
you know what I mean.
That I agree with.
But for you, if you're getting like so many like people that just don't even look at the Airbnb market, they just WhatsApp you like, hey, what do you got for me? And you send them something, and they just say, yeah, sure, I'll take it. They still
compare us to Airbnb.
Okay.
But we would never quote a direct client a higher price than the Airbnb prices.
Okay.
If anything, it's lower than Airbnb.
Okay, I got you.
But our price on Airbnb is high.
Yeah.
Because we know we're going to get that direct business.
Exactly.
So we don't discount.
Yeah. So in that case, I like what you're doing because you are more likely to get that booking without going into the pricing war in the low seasons.
And that's what we tell our property owners. We charge 20% because we do that.
Exactly.
And if I was charging you 12%, I would get rid of my entire sales team. My entire team that gets direct business, I would get rid of them because I don't need them because I'm only charging you. I don't have the money from you to do that.
Yeah.
I'm getting you a higher rate by not giving Airbnb its 15% commission. So that's justifying my slightly higher fee. You're making more money with us.
Yeah.
So the mindset is something owners have to understand.
Yeah.
And it's a long-term play. I don't think you can, like let's say your business, right? I don't think you can make money in 1 year.
Yeah.
But over a period of 3 years, I think you'll make a lot of money.
Yeah,
right? And if you've got the capacity to hold out those 3 years, right? The first year is an investment. You break even. You may lose some. You may win some. Second year, you've treated your guests really well. They're really happy with you. They know what to expect. They know what they're getting. They're going to come back. And then you're charging them 10-15% more. And then the third year when they come back, because everybody comes... I think the largest people that visit Dubai come back at least twice a year.
Exactly. That's the thing with Dubai. That's why I have to get into direct bookings.
Yeah. And you've got to have the infrastructure for that. And then, unfortunately, automation has to take a backseat, right? Because personal contact, personal communication is the only way to do it, right? You got to know your guest's name. You got to know their wife's name. We've even
This
done...
sounds crazy to me because I don't even look at any of my guests on Airbnb.
We profile every guest.
Really?
So we profile every guest. We know what their favorite things are. We have a guest who comes and stays with us twice a year or once a year. They've been staying with us for several years. They're coming back now in the summer again. They're going to stay with us for a month. Their wife wants specific utensils in the kitchen.
Yeah.
They don't even have to ask us anymore. We have that list. We know before they check in, that kitchen is set up for them. So we personalize the guests. We profile them and we know what kind of guests we're getting.
Man. Yeah, we got about 10 more minutes. I have a few more questions. Like what's your goals in the next couple of years?
Improve our quality, improve our service. I said we're at 4.65 to 4.9 on Airbnb. I want 90% of our properties to be at 4.9. That's what we're really driving on for the next 3 years. And we want to open up some more territories. We're looking at some new markets.
Like Abu Dhabi?
The UAE, other markets in the UAE, Abu Dhabi would be one we would consider. We haven't identified what our third market's going to be, but it could be Northern Europe, it could be India, it could be another country in the Middle East. We haven't identified it yet. But we would like to grow to a third or fourth market. We're bootstrapped, so we haven't raised any funding externally, and we'd probably like to keep it that way.
Bootstrap means you don't have any external funding.
Nope, we're debt free and no equity from outside.
You want to keep it that way?
We want to keep it that way as long as we can.
Mm-hmm.
We are also looking to go shopping. So, if there's a property management company with 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 properties.
Oh, buy that out.
If they're interested to sell, we're actively looking to buy other companies.
That's awesome. That's really smart.
Yeah.
When you buy a company like that, because I've been thinking I could easily grow a management company with my audience, and I haven't gotten into it yet, but I would just have to hire a really good team. So if you sell a company like that has 50 apartments, at what price can you sell it? So is it 2 or 3 times the profit of the year, or is it?
There's different ways to value it.
Yeah.
And it really depends on their business model and what they're doing, how long they've been in business, what their contracts look like, the stickiness, et cetera, et cetera. But you can value them on GMV, you can value them on gross profit. We don't look at EBITDA because it's irrelevant to us. Anything below the gross profit margin doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. You can look at what their revenue is for their contract period and then pay them a multiple of that. So if they've got, let's say, 50 contracts and they have 18 months left on those contracts, some are 3-year contracts, some are 6 months, et cetera, et cetera. So let's say there's 18 months left and they generate, 10,000 a month. You can say, okay, 10,000 into 18 and then pay them a multiple of that. There's various ways of doing it. We're quite open at looking all ways.
I thought so say if I have 50 apartments and they generate $1 million per year profit, that's probably a little high, but let's just stick with that. Just after all costs, that I would be able to sell that company for maybe $2.5 million.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
That's a multiple you could use as well.
Yeah.
In a situation like yours where you've actually got the apartments on rent.
I'm talking about just management like yours. If I would do that.
Well, if you've got the apartments on rent and you're generating a good profit over that, it's also a sellable business, and it's something that I don't know. We haven't made a move for any company like that, but we'd look at it. Okay. So that's.
I don't think I'm ever going to sell that though.
I wasn't.
But if I do, I'll come to you. I'll ask you to give me an offer.
We're actively looking to buy.
Okay, so your goal is just to grow.
Yeah. Well, grow in all directions. So we want to grow our team in terms of I want my leadership team to take the next level up. I want to grow our portfolio. We want to the most important is we want to grow our review scores. I want to be at 4.9 for 90% of our properties.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we're very strict on the kind of properties we bring on.
Yeah.
Right, and we churn a lot more than we bring. So I will terminate contracts with property owners because they're not up to the standard in terms of
they don't want to upgrade the furniture. They don't want to fix this and that.
If they don't want to at the start, we don't even take them. If somebody says, "Listen, we don't agree with your linen and we're not ready to change the mattress," we don't sign the contract. We just don't do it.
All right, man. So I saw your company won awards for the best holiday home company in Dubai.
3 years in a row.
How do you win that award?
So we won the International Traveler Award, and I believe that is an award which is voted for by guests. So I guess they send out
a survey.
I guess they send out a survey, or a guest nominates us, and then there's votes, and then I guess they just send it out, and your guests vote for you, and then you win it.
I guess since you got so many diehard customers.
Yeah, we call them bnbmeers.
Oh, nice! Yeah.
If you're a bnbmeer, you stay with us. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
It's a bit like the Swifties, right? That's her power. This is our power.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. All right, man. So we're coming to the ends of this. Any last topics you want to talk about?
Yeah, look, I got to give you a lot of credit.
Yeah,
you've come to a new market. You've come to a market which is super competitive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players out there who've been in the industry for now 5, 7, 8 years. Companies like mine and others like ours. You've got companies which are sprouting up every day.
Yeah.
So I think it takes a lot of courage, and I admire your entrepreneurship. And
thanks, man.
I just want to welcome you to Dubai. And
thank you.
Listen, you're part of the community now. And I'm happy to meet and connect with you more often.
Yeah, for sure. I'm down.
Have a coffee every once in a while and have a chat.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love that.
I'm a big believer in collaboration and not competition.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for people to collaborate with each other rather than fight and compete.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's important to say, like, for anybody that's thinking about, coming to Dubai and subleasing and or doing a revenue share or anything like that, like, it's a big learning curve. What I reward everything is my experience in Iceland. Like, I was doing this in Iceland for 3 years before I came to Dubai and started doing the exact same thing. So that's the reason why it looks so easy, because for me, it's the exact same business, except I just have to adjust a few things to the Dubai market, because there's a lot of different things, but in general, the business is exactly the same. So that's why I can come into this market with so much confidence. And like, I know how to calculate how much profits I'm gonna make roughly, and all of that. So I can just go in with confidence, and that's why it looks so easy. It's because of my experience in Iceland. But if you're thinking about subleasing in Dubai and you don't have any experience, you have to be very careful, and you have to start slow, and you have to find a way to develop your skills without going all in, investing all your money. So that's.
Look, you make it look and sound easy, because you've got your ducks in a row, right? You do a great job in your automation, and it's a fantastic operation that you run.
Yeah.
But it's not as easy as you make it look. I mean, prime example is a guest shows up at 3 a.m, lost their keys, and is drunk.
Exactly.
They call you.
Yeah.
You got to sort that out. You can't tell them I'm not available.
Yeah.
Right? Otherwise, they're sleeping out on the floor. They're going to make a ruckus in the building, and then the security's going to call you.
Yeah.
Right. You got to deal with that kind of stuff. You got to remember, these people are here on vacation.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Right? It's our duty and our responsibility to make sure they have a good vacation.
Let's compare our systems. What happens when that happens? So if this happens in my case, a guest lost their keys, they're drunk, 3 a.m. What they're going to do is they're going to either call or send a message to my virtual assistants in Pakistan. They answer everything within 2 minutes, just like that.
24 hours a day?
Yeah, there's always someone on shift. So they're going to do everything they can to help remotely. They're either going to call the security of the building, try to have them let them in, or do anything they can to do it remotely. But if they can't, they're going to call my employee. I got an employee that's the runner. He does everything that has to be done on the ground. They're going to call him, wake him up 3 a.m. That doesn't happen very often, but that happens maybe very, very rarely. And then he's going to go, he's got an extra key, he's going to let them in. What would happen in your situation? Same thing.
So they have an assigned guest service agent who they have the WhatsApp number for and phone call to, and they will connect with them. That guy has to respond within 60 seconds.
Whoa.
Yeah. Any guest request is done. We have systems in monitoring that.
60 seconds?
Yeah, 60
That's
seconds.
Awesome.
Any guest request has to be responded to in 60 seconds.
Oh.
And my team sits in India. So very similar.
Oh, so you got virtual assistants in India that do the communication?
No, I have a full team.
Full team?
Yeah, we have 25 people there. Reservation agents, the whole works.
Why do you have them in India? Just because it's cheaper and they're more motivated and...
I don't think it's cheaper. Good talent in India is not cheap. It's expensive.
Yeah.
And then you've got a lot more additional costs in India, social security and stuff like that. But we're not looking to be Dubai based, right? Like I said, we're Dubai now, we're Riyadh, we want to go multinational. We want to open up a couple more territories.
Yeah.
So you've got to have your central nerve center, what I call, in a specific location to run all these operations. Mm-hmm. And because I'm from India, I just picked India.
Yeah.
So that's why.
And then you have runners on the ground.
So we have guest service agents.
Okay.
So my guest service agents are all from 5-star hotels in Dubai, the Burj Al Arab, the St. Regis, and so on. So
but do the guests usually talk directly to them, or do they usually talk to the team in India?
They talk to the team in India,
and
the team in India instructs them to go. But the guest service agent checks the guest in.
Okay.
So they've already had that personal contact.
Okay. But at no point the guest is in contact with the guest service agent.
No, they
online.
can be as well.
Okay, they can be.
They can be as well. I mean, we're fluid on that with who the guest wants to be in touch with. If the guest wants to, you got two types of guests, right? You got a guest who wants to pick up the phone and talk.
Yeah.
You got a guest who wants to do everything through messaging. If they want to do everything through messaging and they're happy communicating with the Indian team, go ahead.
Yeah.
But if they want to talk to that Dubai guy in Arabic or in Russian or whatever, and
on
they
WhatsApp.
want to on WhatsApp or make calls, they can do that as well.
How many of these service agents do you have that
5.
check? 5 for 100 apartments.
100 odd apartments.
So they're just running around all day like crazy.
All day long.
And how much do you have to pay a person like that on average? Don't have to say exactly.
They earn, let's say, including everything, $7 to 10 grand.
7,000 dirhams a month.
Yeah.
That's about $1,900 a month, something like that.
Plus. I mean, they get tips and et cetera, et cetera.
Oh yeah,
Plus
get
they get
tips.
a car, they get medical, they get a phone, they get
Nice. Yeah. I mean, that's a very. Actually, it's kind of a good salary in Dubai.
Yeah, but look, if you don't pay them the good salary, they're not going to be motivated when they check the guest in. They're not going to give them the correct energy, and then the guest is not going to have a great experience, and then you can't charge the guest what you're charging.
Exactly.
So you got to keep your staff motivated.
Absolutely.
And again, I come back to, you can't be in the race to the bottom and charge 12% and do all of that.
Exactly. If you're charging your client 12%, then you can't have motivated staff.
Well, look at it the other way. If you're the property owner and you're paying 12%, what kind of experience are you giving is the guest going to get? And how's the cleaning going to be? And how's the maintenance going to be?
Absolutely.
Because we inspect every properties. Every time a guest checks out, we have an inspector who goes in and inspects everything.
Oh yeah.
And makes sure there's no damage and so on.
Is that the same person that does the?
Nope.
That's a whole nother person.
Yeah, because that person is specialized in guest services.
Damn, you got a lot of people.
This person is specialized in housekeeping and engineering and maintenance. Right? You got to fix something. They fix it really quickly.
Oh yeah, that's good. And if something broken, they're going to take photo and maybe charge the guest if that's applicable.
Yeah.
So
we have insurance as well that covers a lot of that stuff.
Okay, that's good. So if owners are watching this, they have an apartment in Dubai, they want you to manage their work, can they reach out to you?
Yeah.
Where should they be in contact?
So they can go to our website and reach out to us over there, or they can connect with us on bnbme 800 bnbme.
Okay.
So 262623 800
Awesome.
bnbme.
Yeah, sounds good.
Excellent.
Right.
Well, look, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
And I look forward to having coffee with you sometime in midsummer.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for
We'll have
coming.
a great chat. Thank you very much.
You got it.